Jack Jacobson. I'm in the pits with car number 15 NASCAR Charger driver Bob Pennington, one of our top contenders here at Raven Raceway. And Bob, you've won a couple of mains this year. You've been real competitive, but lately you've had a few problems. What's been happening out there? Is it the car, or is it you, or is it the competition, or what?
Well, it's the car. Well, me too, but it's not handling the way I want it to, and I've been changing chassis and everything. First of the year, you know, I changed the engine and transmissions and rear end. Finally got it where it was running the way I want it, and then I started working with the chassis on it.
You think you got it pretty much put together now?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Tonight.
You feeling good? How's the competition? Is it really rough out there?
No.
No?
No. They're there, but they're the pass.
Just the position you've been in, like you say, once the car's not handling right and you start making adjustments, you're going to have to get it back to where it was.
You dial her in so you can get around the track a little quicker. That's the name of the game.
Who's sponsoring you this year?
Well, it's Gary's Towing, Dealer's Auto Supply, Bud's Out Back, Howard's Hydraulic, Quaker State, and I don't know who else is there.
A couple more maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how are you doing in point standings now? What place are you in?
Well, I'm still number one.
Are you still number one? Yeah. Still holding your own. Looking for a win to pull away from the rest of the fellas?
Well, win or top 5 finishes keep me in the point standings out in front. But, you know, I don't know how many races they've had, but I haven't finished 5 of them. So.
Now, the statement I made when I said you've been having your problems, what I meant there was you've been having your problems from winning a main event. You've been very consistent, even though the car's not handling properly. As long as you can stay consistent, you know, just like Lucky Larry, he hasn't won a main yet, and he's right up there in points, 5th or 6th place right now.
Yeah.
Is that one of your goals, but to win the championship this year?
Oh, you bet. Oh, I'll win it. There's no doubt in my mind, but you know, be consistent. That's what you got to be.
Yeah.
In any racing, if you're consistent, you know, and you're always in the top 5 or top 10, that's where you'll finish the end of the year.
What's your wife think of you racing? Is she behind you 100%?
Oh, we're doing. Yeah, she enjoys it. You know, she helps me at the house get the car ready, or chases parts for me when I'm working on it. And she comes out every night we race. She missed one night this year.
What does Bob Pennington do when he's not out racing the race car during the week for a living?
Oh, I work for Gary's Towing.
Oh,
mechanic, yeah.
Oh, is that right? Gary's a real good supporter of you here in this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, real good. How about any kids? You have any kids?
Oh, I got 4 of those.
They come out to see your daddy race?
Well, little Bob, he's 12. He comes out every race, and then Jake, my oldest son, he's 15, be 16 November. He works there at Gary's Towing as my mechanic helper, and he comes out every night. And my 2 daughters, one's 20, and sometimes she comes, sometimes she don't. She got a boyfriend, and the other daughter, sometimes she comes and sometimes she don't. So
let's talk about the car just a little bit here. How about have you got the chassis and the engine and the suspension and everything set up now? Do you think it's right now?
Well, I think it's right every time I come out here, but then it ain't, you know. So you got to do a little more adjustment. We do some here, and then when I take it home, I set it back up on the scales and see where I've added weight or taken out, or you know, and then go from there. And each race, you find out how you're doing. But the track is different each time you come out, so it's really hard to really pinpoint it.
Are you going to do anything different tonight than you normally do? Any different kind of strategy?
No, just run around the track, pick off one at a time.
That's the way to do it, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Don't try to pick off 2 like I did in a celebrity race and wind up in the wall.
Nobody ever won a race being first on the first lap.
That's true.
So.
That's true. Well, good luck to you out there tonight, Bob.
Okay.
It's a real pleasure. You're a good competitor, and we really put on a great show. Sincerely. Thank you. Good interview, Bob. Thanks. Okay. This is Jack Jacobs. I'm in the pits once again, and getting all set up here is car number 84, Dana Fight, with his brand new automobile. And he's hooking up his seatbelt right now. We'll get to talk with him in just a moment. Good looking automobile. We'll ask him a few questions on what he did with his old car. Perhaps Tom Boyd might like to purchase it. I don't know.
It's in storage.
It's in storage.
It's in storage.
Danny, this is a brand new car that you have out here this year. Is it gonna be, what's the difference between this one and your old 84 gonna be like?
About 1,200 pounds.
1,200 pounds, huh? Tell us a little bit about the car when you get a chance here. I know you're trying to get set up.
I just bought it about 3 weeks ago, and because with the other car, on the very best night, it only finished 18th, so we figured that it had to be weight, because we tried everything else we could do to it and nothing seemed to help. So we decided to go with a car like everybody else's.
Time to trade in
Yep.
the old mama and get a new one, huh?
Yep, because the old adage goes, because if you can't beat them, you join them.
That's right. Good. Listen, word has it this is one of Carl Trimmer's old cars. Is that correct?
That's because the guy that I bought it off of, that's what he told me, is that he bought it off of him in, I think it was 1980, and he owned it from 1980 until about 3 weeks ago, and he had only raced it 3 times.
Oh, is that right?
So I figured he didn't do much damage to it unless he put it in the wall, and from what I understand, he didn't. So we'll see what happens.
Have you done anything different to the car as far as setting it up any different?
No, left it just the way I got it.
Just going to take her out on the racetrack and check it out tonight and see what kind of problems you had on the handling and so forth, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How about the engine? Got a good strong engine in there?
I hope so.
You're gonna find out tonight.
I'm gonna find out.
Any changes in your sponsorship?
No, yeah, there is one. I did add one.
Okay.
And it's...
Have you talked to Robin about it yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'll get her down to you.
Because the guy that's sponsoring now is Lucky Larry from...
Oh, yeah, okay, I know about that one.
That's the only change.
We've got y'all set up on that one.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, that's good, Steve. Leave it.
So you're pretty excited?
Yeah. I
Really
can't wait.
excited.
Yeah.
You feel like you might be more of a competitor with this car, huh?
Much more.
Much more?
Much more.
Well, listen, Dana Fike, good luck to you. We'll be watching you out on the racetrack. I know you're a good competitor. Now you've got the car you've been wanting, and keep it in the safe lane.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Part of the far team out there.
Yeah, I know. Let's hear you fart. This is Jack Jacobs. I'm here with car number 94 with the brand new driver, Bobby Markham. Hi, Bobby. How you doing today?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good. Are y'all excited about tonight's race?
I just hope everything works out okay.
Have you driven this car before?
Yeah, I drove at the beginning of the season. I ran real good in it before.
Yeah.
So, and I've been driving my sprint car ever since then.
Yeah, right. Any special strategy you're going to be using driving this car tonight?
Nah, just whatever works.
What do you like driving the best, sprints or
Sprint cars.
sprint cars?
Yeah.
Even though the owner of this car is here, he can't hear his stuff.
It don't matter.
Sprints are a lot of fun. We've got a big sprint race coming up, and I'm sure you'll be out here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You've been doing a good job driving this year. You've been up there toward the front many times. What kind of record you got so far this year?
Well, we're doing fine. Last week we run Manzanita. We had Griffin beat and lost the motor. So.
Is that right? You had Griffith beat last
Yeah,
week?
we had him 4 laps to go and motor let go.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things.
Are you a married fella?
Yes, I am.
Is your wife supportive of your racing
Oh,
career?
yeah. Bill Cheeseburg's my father-in-law.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
What do you think about Bill? You ever be back on the racetrack?
Nah, I drove his car last few times, so he's been helping me.
He's going to just go ahead and keep in retirement?
Yeah.
Nothing for next year either, huh?
Just helping me. That's about it as far as I know.
Yeah, good. Well, listen, we'll make this short and sweet. Good luck to you out on the racetrack tonight. I know you're always top contender out here.
Well, I hope so.
Keep her in the safe lane, Bobby.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Nice meeting you too, Bob. All right. Delicious along with the shrimp, but he's got candy back here. From M&M to Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. I'll tell you which candy was. Candy was to Snickers, Skittles, and that famous, I call it famous, the Raven Frozen Desert Delight. That's it. Did I hear you say Snickers? Snickers. He said Snickers. He said Snickers. I didn't even know this until last night. Well, they may not have so many to tell. They have an opportunity, I know that. That's right. And I like that Reese's Peanut Butter Cups also. I haven't heard that about. What's that? I like peanut butter cups. I like Reese's Peanut Butter. That's right. I do. I like all the food. I like seafood. Every time I see food, I eat it. He also has Chinese egg rolls with either soy sauce, hot Chinese.
Down to the track. And there they are, Mr. and Mrs. Raven Raceway. Let's give them a warm welcome this evening, ladies and gentlemen, Dave and Linda Manus.
Thank you. Got a beautiful night tonight. No clouds. Got a heck of a racetrack, too, I'll tell you right now. I think we're going to see some fantastic racing. Cliff Martin has been doing a super job on preparing the racetrack the last 3-4 weeks, and my hat's off to him. Would like to tell you all one thing. I'm very, very proud of all my employees. I've told you that numerous times. We have got a good staff of people here. I want to thank you all again. They've had nothing but compliments the last 2-3 weeks of the way the spectators have responded to them and their problems too. And just thanks very much for caring about our employees. Guys warming up. Got a couple announcements. September 12th, we have the Vicky Lynn Memorial. The arrangements have all been made already. It's going to be a very special show. We're going to fund the proceeds. They'll all go to the We the People, which George and Debbie's agreed on. And that way it goes to legislation and other things that We the People are doing that'll help probably make better laws for our kids. And I think that's real important. So I want to say thanks to the Trimmer family and all of them very much for allowing us to have the Vicky Lynn Memorial at Raven Raceway. It's very special. Last week, for those of you who was here, I'm taking a few minutes now because we're right on time again. I want to tell you something. Last week we had some problems with two things. Rough driving in the Chargers. There was some very, very bad things done out there. We handled it. A lot of you spectators called me during the week. A lot of you asked me during race nights, what do you do about rough driving and stuff? Well, I'll tell you. 2 drivers got fined $100 apiece last week in the Charger division for doing antics on the racetrack that involved innocent people, and it does not need to be done. We also put 3 drivers on probation for rough driving and taking people out. So we have responded to that. There's another issue, and I'm going to talk to you about it. In the last 2 weeks, we've had numerous things that are being said from spectators and things in the stands that is getting a little out of line, okay? Now, you can boo who you want, and you can yay for who you want. But it's no reason for you to pick out a family that is sitting in the stands that supports this racetrack and spends all the money in getting their car out here. Good competitors such as the Trimmers and the Russells and the Sipes, they're good sponsors. They put on the show for you. And it's awful funny, the last 2 weeks, the crowd has gotten more rowdy than anybody. I have been in the pit area with the individuals involved in these wrecks or these mishaps. There's been no hard feelings between those people that were involved in these mishaps because they judged them as a racing accident. If it was a belligerent, deliberate thing, then our officials will handle it. So do believe our officials are very intent on promoting good rules and penalizing people that don't obey them. So I'm asking you as a friend and as a promoter here, don't involve the families or the people up at the set in the stands with a certain T-shirt on and get vulgar with them. That doesn't do no good. They're the innocent bystanders. They're the ones that support the racers to get them out of here, the wives and the business people. You can boo and you can have fun. We all do it. I've done it too. But please, don't attack the families of the racers. That's what I got to say. You'll all please stand. Take off your hats. We're going to have a heck of a race tonight, I can tell already. Carolyn?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Carolyn. She does a fine job on that, doesn't she? I got a little announcement to make, too, involving our flags. A lot of you people have asked me why they're flying where they are. Well, it's because I don't have a flagpole, okay? Now, somebody come down and volunteered last week that they're going to try and locate us a flagpole. And I agree with a lot of you spectators. We're going to put the flagpole over here, probably where that little white pickup is. And we'll put the missing MIA and the veterans flag up, just flying up there now, veterans. And we'll put the American flag together on one flagpole. So that will be done. A lot of you has hit me with that, okay? The other thing is we signed the big sprint car show for October 10th. It'll probably be the best one we've produced this year. We're going to have the wing sprints here. It's a tri-state championship. We already have Richard Griffin and a lot of the other entries coming back. It'll be El Paso, Texas, and Las Cruces, New Mexico, Manzanita, then back to Tucson for the final. I'd like to acknowledge one person up here. Hi, Stomper Hill, you hear me down there? All right, Steve Mullen from Ashton Construction is setting up here. This gentleman was one of the people that came out here in the very beginning when I needed help, and he's the one that provided the equipment that filled in all the front where we got the new beer wells, new ticket booths, and built Stomper Hill, and I'm negotiating with him now to extend it all the way down to the Performance Unlimited sign. We're going to make it twice as wide, twice as high. We're going to take it all the way around down there, and then hopefully we can get some grass on it here by the first of the year, and it'll make a nice seating area. Thank you all very much for your patience, especially listening on the sportsmanship. I really do appreciate that. I think you know where we're coming from on this issue. Have a good time tonight. Let's go racing. We ain't got to worry about rain.
Well, the first heat for the Chargers is going to be coming out real shortly here, but you still have plenty of time to get that lucky number program. Just $1.50 over at the...
Talk about punctuality tonight. Wow. Right on the money. The green flag is coiled and ready to be unfurled and flown by George Kemp. He gave him the finger the last time around, letting them know that they could anticipate if everything looked cool and copacetic here, he would get them started because he wants to get the night's racing underway. And here we go. I have a feeling, no, oh, look at him. He's early on tonight, cocking that hip around and letting them know that he's not happy.
And he's not happy with car number 49, John Banks, trying to jump the gun there at turn number 4, Tom. And he told them slow it up as he pointed his finger at him.
I wonder, do you suppose he uses expletives?
Probably. We ought to get a microphone up there some night or patch into him on the radio. No, we better not.
Maybe some of the folks in the front row here.
I've heard some of the language up in that flag stand. I don't think the folks would like to hear it.
Can let us know what they overhear down there tonight. Boy, look at that breeze picking up, blowing Linda Manus's hair to and fro. And here they come out of turn 4. John Banks in the pole position for the start of your first heat race this evening for the NASCAR Chargers. And a quick move put on by Marvin Catlin right in front of the grandstands area, heading up into turn 1. And that launches him into the lead spot with John Banks playing catch-up and getting a little wobbly out there in turn 2 area, particularly coming out of turn 2. But John able to keep it under control, though constantly and consistently in the early on of this one, losing ground to that guy right there in the $5.95 special. Cheap at twice the price, but only $5.95 at Fashions 5. One of the proud sponsors on the Marvin Catlin machine. And you see Catlin beginning to pull away from the field real good now, and less than a half a lap away from perhaps making his first lapped victim out here this evening.
Look at Ron Bishop coming up all the way from the rear and now challenging Tom Campbell in that 21T car for 3rd place.
Bishop's got that little car right there cooking. He's working in a little bit lower groove out of turns 3 and 4, but he's looking real good tonight and has been over the past few races out here. And look at him just constantly and consistently bump that car up through the field.
Well, now he is in 3rd place. Campbell moves back to 4th. And now, oh, look, he's after John Banks right now.
Into 3rd place and on the 3rd lap and working away on the Banks machine now, as you see. Let's watch the strategy of Ron Bishop here. He's taking a little bit lower road than his competition, and he's going to make an easy move on Banks over there in turn 2. Banks appearing, at least, to continue to have some steering problems up there in that turn 2 area. Perhaps he just hasn't found the groove that's his yet.
Lap number 4, Tom, you think Bishop can catch him in the next 4 laps? That is Marvin Catlin.
He's got a long way to go, and pretty speedy guy to try to close in on, but I'll tell you what, out of this entire field, if anybody can, I think Mr. Bishop is the man who maybe can get the job done. At 595, it seems to be cooking real well right now. Owned by J&L Enterprises and piloted by Marvin Catlin, running all by himself right now up there into turn 3 into the Budweiser sign.
Bishop running into a little traffic, but handling it real well as he heads through turn 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. But not too many left to go in this one to catch up to Marvin Catlin, Tom.
Herb Penrod shoving that triple-digit 7 about to its limits, as you just saw, coming out of turn 4 here. Getting a bit wobbly, but straightening it out in front of the grandstand area as Bishop comes by, followed by Banks, and just a little close there for a moment or two.
Oh, look out.
Just a quick little scare. 1 lap to go for Marvin Catlin in the lead in 595.
Let's see if he can make it up past Tom Campbell, who he's already lapped right now, and yes, he does stay out of trouble.
Ron Bishop running along in second place in that 98, the bronze-colored car. Banks getting a little wobbly up here coming out of turn 4.
And the yellow flag comes out, so Ron Bishop's going to be glad about that, Tom.
That will certainly improve his chances in this one. Automatically bunching him up as we have 7 laps chipped off in this one, so it's truly going to be a dash. A 1-lap shot for Ron Bishop.
So we're going back, and we're inverting back to 6 laps, so it'll be a couple of lap dash now.
Nice.
Because the yellow came out before they completed that 7th lap or headed into the white lap, flag lap. That's hard to say. White lap, flag lap.
Oh, I want to welcome Steve Hart from KRQ as Fred Descamp is down up there in turn 2. Steve Hart with some of his out-of-town family in tonight. Steve, if you've got yourselves all situated out here at Raven tonight, and as you get the opportunity, want to take a little bit of a break and come on up to the announce tower, we'd like you to say hi to the family of Raven Raceway over our PA tonight. Steve Hart, one of the good guys, one of the survivors this week down at KR2Q.
Why, some people did not survive down there?
Oh, this was a disastrous week.
Oh, my goodness.
75% of the morning team suddenly took a hike.
And it wasn't up Mount Lemon.
No. Probably an equally bumpy, lumpy, circuitous route, but that's how it goes in this business. As a broadcaster, you tend to, early on in your career, learn to sleep with a Rand McNally road map under your pillow. And so you have some idea when you wake up in the morning where you are, where you've been, and hopefully where you're headed.
Let's see where they put Ron Bishop right now, whether he has to stay back there because of the lap cars. They'll keep you in your same position many times and not put you up in second place. Even though you are in second place, they won't put you in the second position.
Clear as mud. I mean, that was really clear. That clarified things considerably.
You're joshing me.
Hey, you know what I noticed here
confused
tonight?
myself.
The officials are going crazy right now to our immediate right.
Yes.
They aren't even in the other end of the announce tower, and we don't hear them all that much tonight, do we?
This is a good system. I like it.
Thanks to George Camp's new audio discovery techniques out here at Raven Raceway tonight. George, our flagman starter, he up there in the stand, his assistant, his #1 right-hand lieutenant type, Bob McKinley, is now down on the track. He has taken a message down there to kind of hopefully convey to these guys and help them get into a proper order here. That, of course, is also what has our officials on the edge of their seats up here right now and yakking back and forth on the radio sets. Boy, we've just not ever been able to talk about that.
Nope.
Without almost being drowned out by it as it went on.
This is nice. Speaking of nice, folks, if you would be nice, we still have race fans coming into the facilities. If you'd scoot over just a little bit or point out one of the seats, we still have plenty of seats left, and help these folks out who are latecomers, but yet they'd like to see the races also. Still some room at Stomper Hill if you cannot find a seat on the front straightaway. And still some time to get that lucky number program tonight. Just
Oh,
$1.50.
Mark that down. That
Yes.
qualifies as another commercial plug for the Raven Raceway program. And seriously, folks, if you haven't got yours yet, you might want to slip out of the grandstands area to the right rear of the grandstands in the program video booth. Pick up a program, cheap. I mean, so cheap you can't believe it, at just $1.50. And you'll have your automatic lucky program number that way. We've got marble doggy dishes and seat cushions and coolie cups and racing caps and T-shirts and you name it, and we've got it, including a couple of Frisbees from the submarine sandwich and salad shops around town, some certificates, and a T-shirt also from those fine folks. Fresh baked buns. I would love to wear that T-shirt around this valley. McKinley remounts the flagman starter stand, so I would guess. And listening to the official drone up here in the announce tower tonight that we are, and yes we do, return to racing. So it's a 2-lap dash as we get a wild and woolly start on this one. A little head-to-head activity down there, and John Banks was awfully lucky because there were a couple of cars right behind him, Jack, that had they not been right on top of things, could have done a tremendous pile drive of Banks into that number yellow car there that just simply got a little wobbly coming out of turn 4 and then lost it. But it's good news for Mark Kuhn in 360 because he comes out of it unscathed after getting wobbly.
That was some heads-up driving, Tom.
I don't know about David Mars there in 67. That one seems to be pretty shut down right now, so Gary's towing. The calling of the cavalry here at Raven Raceway comes to the rescue one more time. Boy, I'm just feeling extraordinarily good tonight.
So am I. There must be something in the air.
I think maybe it's finally falls almost being here, you know?
That's what it is.
Boy, it was a long, hellacious, hard, hot summer, wasn't it? Special guest in the stands tonight would like to say hi to Gina Valdez, who is sitting up here in the Frank McCann clan. I gave her a red flag earlier this evening, and I said, Gina, if this man starts misbehaving, wave it. And I've only seen her wave it about a half dozen times, so Frank's behaving himself in a usual fashion tonight. Uh-oh, that brought him to a...
That brought him up,
He's
huh?
waving his fatigue cap at me. I think I have in serious Rambo trouble now. Frank McCann, for you folks sitting right up here next to the announce tower, on the north end of the announce tower, is one of our earliest arrivals, week in to week out. Talking with him in several weeks past, found out he's been basically on the Marion Smiley trail for some 15, 17 years in this town.
My goodness.
And that's still who he basically cheers for when he comes to late models racing out here. He's got some nice Polaroids in his pocket too, Jack. You should see some of the fish that man caught while visiting his brother, I guess, up in Colorado or Oklahoma. Sooner country.
I cheer for Marion Smiley once in a while.
I think we all cheer for Marion Smiley once in a while, at least. I know Art does.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen the mayor tonight?
I haven't seen the mayor. He's probably here, though.
It's probably already obnoxious, and they can't allow him off the hill to come up here. Let's go green once again and see if Marvin Catlin can keep that 595 flying in front of Ron Bishop, or will Bishop take that number 98 and shove it into the lead? That seems to be about the only question left in this one as they tick off lap 7 now, finally. White flag lap coming up, and it'll be the last opportunity for the man in that number 2 slot, Ron Bishop.
Ron held it on the inside that time, and Catlin went way wide.
He's got a low or a flat tire on the right rear, Ron Bishop does.
Oh, that's what happened.
So he's going to do his best to hang on and finish this sucker, and Marvin Catlin in all likelihood is going to have it all his way in 595.
Well, here comes Marvin Catlin right now, and George Camp with the checkered flag in hand as Marvin goes way wide but brings it back down in just a little bit and does take the checkered flag. Bishop winds up in 3rd place as Tom Campbell jumped right in front of him at the finish line. So that was exciting, right down for 2nd place. A battle between Campbell and Bishop Doing a fine job, Tom, with a flat tire hanging in there. and winding up in 3rd place.
I thought Ron Bishop, quite frankly, would lose more ground than he did with that tire situation, as he had a full lap left on what either was a rapidly going flat or an already gone flat tire. Number 79 up from Sierra Vista, Ray Wilson.
That deserves another plug or score. Bob Pennington in number 15 from Tucson, outside 2nd row.
Dan Umfris in the number 10 Charger, inside 3rd row.
Ron Kearns in 59, outside 3rd row.
John Vanhorn will pilot the red number 1 from inside the 4th row.
Terri Bennett in number 9 from Tucson, outside 4th row.
Gordon Langston in number 46 of Tucson, inside the last row.
Michael Long in 07. Bringing up the field.
We've got green for another time, Jackson, and here we go racing with Lucky Larry Davis taking the charge and the lead over that rapid Bob Pennington in number 15 up into turn 1.
Lucky.
So we're off and running.
Oh, look at Bob go wide and lose a little ground, but here comes Ray Wilson in 79, right on Bob's tail.
That 77 car hasn't looked this good since that celebrity race we had out here a while back. But look at him cook at Lucky Larry Davis of the Friendly Auto Racing Team bunch. And look at Ray Wilson and Bob Pennington do a little side by side out of turn 4 down the home stretch area. Then Wilson bleeds off and falls a little bit behind, but now Wilson gets a shot on the lower inside of turn 2 and sticks it right by Pennington. Up behind, it looks to be McCleskey. And all of them giving chase to this guy, Lucky Larry Davis in 77, as we fall victim to the yellow caution flag because of debris up there under the Stacy billboard on the backstretch. Something flew off of somebody's machine, and so we've got to send our folks out into the track area and get it picked up, brought back. So this will bunch them up in the early on of this, your 2nd Charger heat race of the evening. Lucky Larry, 77 in the lead. Dan Umfris has put that number 10 machine into 2nd place. And Ray Wilson with number 79, Bob Pennington in number 15, Terri Bennett in number 9, and John Vanhorn in number 1 are how they stack up through the first half dozen slots.
Well, because of the green flag, Tom, their officials, or the yellow flag rather, the officials are putting Bob Pennington back up into 2nd place because a complete lap was not run before the yellow flag came out. So.
Sounds more than reasonable to me. 47 has gone flat, right rear, Tom Lanny. Either doesn't know as yet or doesn't care.
One of the two.
I would bet for the vast majority of these guys, that opportunity to stay on the track, you just don't care.
Maybe he knows and doesn't care.
Yeah, absolutely. So they will probably do one more. And Camp McKinley will get the message to Lanny that he's got a bit of a problem back there. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell, quite frankly, depending on exactly how the surface is and how the car is running and how the suspension and everything's working in it. So let's see if Lanny has got the message. It doesn't look like it.
No, 47's got that flat. They're just going to leave him there. If he wants to run it with a flat tire, more power to him.
That's, I think, the perfect attitude, the only attitude to take on a racing night at a racing plant that has become number 1 in America per car count and spectator count alike when it comes to short dirt track racing. You guys and gals in the audience deserve a pat on your backs tonight. So Jack and I will be down later to do that.
Pat everybody on their back?
Till we do that, do it. Just reach up, pat yourself on the back. Know that we are ever so appreciative for your having made it what it is, number 1 right now in all America racing. Who would have guessed that back in February?
Boy, I wouldn't have. Not the way this track looked, but they've just done a miracle out here.
Fraley Quilt people sad to see 47 with Tom Lanny at the wheel retire to the pits, but we all know why. And the green flag is prepped to fly once again by George Kemp. And, well, why don't you just waltz away with it here? Have some fun. Spin around for a lap or two.
That sounds good to me. Okay, off the number 4 corner they come, and Lucky Larry Davis leads him down the front straightaway. But Bob Pennington is closed up on him this time. Larry's going to have his work cut out for him because Ray Wilson and Umphris and the rest of them are behind him as Pennington, look at him, Tom, go up to the wall. Is he having problems handling that machine tonight?
Oh, I tell you, I thought Umphris was going to kiss Pennington real good up there in turn 2. Help him through that second turn.
Well, Pennington looks a little better this lap, but here comes Umphris once again alongside of him. And what a battle we've got going on right now for 3rd place. Side by side as they head into turn 1 and 2.
It's an awesome feeling when you're going into the turn. You know you've got a big steed sitting to the left of you.
Number 1, the number 1 car
has a
Lucky
bumper
Larry.
dragging.
He has a bumper dragging on
my
Lucky
goodness.
Larry's car. Where's that dragging?
It looks perfectly fine to me.
Well, one of the officials.
Oh, there it
called up
is.
here.
It's the number 1 car, Vanhorn.
Oh, the number 1 car. Okay.
Right rear bumper is sagging just a little bit, so he may be cutting a whole new groove.
He's fortunate it's not asphalt. And he's about to get the black flag, though, I believe. George Camp has it in his hand as Lucky Larry Davis still leading this one.
I had my asphalt earlier this week.
I'll bet you did. Yellow flag is out. And number 9 is up against the wall. Who's that? Terri Bennett over there, turn number 3. And Terry looks like he might have even kissed the wall a little bit as the steam comes out of his radiator.
I wonder if he's a Blue Eyes.
Why would you ask that?
Well, I have no idea, come to think of it. I was thinking of Tony Bennett, and it's Frank Sinatra.
Oh, okay.
So none of it makes any sense.
Not a bit.
Hell, I think I'll just go home,
Oh,
Jack.
no, come on, we're having fun tonight.
This has been a real loosey-goosey kind of an evening as Vanhorn drags his dragging tail into the pit fields.
So to take a couple of minutes to get Terri Bennett off the racetrack with Gary's Towing, so you still have time to pick up that lucky number program. Just $1.50. We've got all kinds of goodies. Oh, we've got that big quilt from Frelick's Quilts.
How many times have you mentioned the program tonight?
Oh, only 12.
Oh, I will probably still get yelled at. I say that affectionately, Dave, in case you listen in on Tucson on tapes later on.
Looks like Gordon Langston in number 46 making a pit stop, and we'll have to just wait and see if Gordon's going to be back out here.
Vanhorn drifted it in there, too, with his dragging tail. I experienced a problem like that long about Tuesday.
You were dragging your tail.
My tail was dragging, too. I retired to the pits for a couple of days.
How's come that every week when we get out here at Saturday night, we're going to meet for breakfast because we both are scheduled for fairly easy weeks, and we meet on Thursday or Friday and say, well, it was another one.
I've been doing breakfasts at a pretty regular clip here lately.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Where are you clipping at?
All
over town?
Wherever it seems to work well at the time.
Okay. We won't disclose your hiding places.
Oh, I'm afraid everybody already knows. Boy, it doesn't take long for the word to get out, does it?
Nope. No, I stopped in one of the places that you stopped one night, the Village Inn. We won't mention which one. And
any of them.
I asked the folks if has Tom Boyd been in, and everybody knew who I was talking about.
That's because I had been in and out of trouble.
Willie Russell in 59 also in the pit field right now. Willie from Tucson, owner Ron Kern. So we've got 6 of them left out here for our second heat in the NASCAR Charger division. Wait a minute, I only see 5 right now.
Yep. And the 6th one back there.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Under the Silver Bullet billboard.
Tom Laney.
Another of our good sponsors. Boy, we've had some really fine folks. R.E. Miller Paving Company, Inc. You see their billboard up in turn 1, the first one you catch on each circuit taking out here. Paving the way for Dave Maness here in 87 to get it all put together. See what we're doing now, Dave Maness? Look at that. Dave Maness is now tearing up our little note card that tells him how many times we have punched the programs. He says, I don't give a damn how many times you've done it. I'm tired of eating them. What do they taste like, Dave?
That's what we got in that shredded beef taco, huh? No, listen, I'll tell you, one of the Granados brothers makes that taco meat, and he brought it in last night, and boy, I'll tell you what, it looked good. It really did. They bring it in fresh all the time. And speaking of fresh, We've got plenty of those programs left, and I want to tell you, we've got some exceptionally. I'll not try. We've got some good gifts we're giving away tonight.
Have we got any programs left?
Yeah, we've got a lot of programs left.
Where would I get a program?
Down at Tucson On Tape's video booth right next to the Mexican concession stand located at the rear of the main bleachers. Almost got it all out.
Son of a gun. How many times is that?
Oh, 13.
Lucky 13 for us. Any luck at all? Well, Vanhorn is able to get rid of his rear bumper problem in a pretty short span of time, and he's back out. Always good to see that.
Seriously, folks, if you did not hear us report just a little while ago, if you need a detail for your car, head on over to Friendly Auto, and Gary and Robert over there do detailing right there on Stone Avenue, just north of Stone. Bring your car in. Buy yourself a program tonight, and they'll give you 10% off on a detail. So that's a good buy right there. And that qualifies. Where'd you get that coffee?
The Village Inn girls were kind enough to bring that out and up. Tony Barrow, they gave it to her, and
well, that's fine.
She delivered it, so want to thank the VI gals for that.
They went all the way to Village Inn for that? Oh, downstairs.
No, I think this is one of our numbers.
Go
Good
ahead.
Coffee.
I told the folks last night I was over at my insurance company the other day, and I didn't realize the girl was on the phone talking to a client, and I asked her if she had a restroom. And she asked me, "Are you married or single?" And I thought, what
the
in
hell
the
does that have
what
to
does
do
that
with
got to
if you got
do
a restroom?
if you got a restroom? But I did not realize she was talking to one of the clients over there at Southwest Insurance.
Oh, I see. Have you been...
That's the kind of week I had.
Oh, look at that to Terry Bennett's machine.
Oh, my goodness. He really did smack the wall.
That was one nasty crack up there, and as soon as we've got any word on the well-being of Mr. Bennett from our officials, and only when we get it from our officials will we relay it to you. So don't think Jack and I are standing up here purposely postponing that information. We aren't. We simply do not pass it along until we get it in a most responsible fashion.
Well, when this one resumes, Lucky Larry Davis will lead him one more time. A couple of laps to go, and we'll finish this heat race up. We've got the late models coming out for you shortly. And I'll tell you what, we've got a good field of late models, more than we had last week.
We've been having some great fields out here. Parity has been coming along all season long, that being a part of what Jack and I so often talk about. On any given night, anybody capable of planting her in the win column, so to speak.
Or planting them in the wall.
Yeah. Jack in the wall.
Jack in the
Jacobs.
wall. That's me. Terry Bennett has a neck collar on right now just as a precaution, and as soon as we do get a report, like Tom said, we'll pass it on to you. They're checking him out, I believe. We'll give you a report if we get the information, folks.
And we will. But only when they have a report to give us will they pass that report along. They like to be thorough and have it all covered. Speaking of lucky program numbers and such,
yes,
Robin Conwell appears in a photo at the top of page 5 of tonight's program. You hear Jack and I talk immeasurably about Robin Conwell, as well we should. She is often our eyes and ears in the pit fields, particularly in these recent weeks, Jack, when you've been busy doing your pre-race interviews. I start writing my newspaper clippings. You know what's been nice?
What's that?
Paul Banghart stopped by tonight. George Benedum's wife stopped by here in the announce tower tonight. And that's what's neat week after week after week, is to get to see these people in this kind of a relaxed setting up here. Here we go again. Jackson, your guy in the lead.
Yeah, but he's got company, Tom. Ray Wilson is really putting a challenge on him right now, along with Dan Umphris in that number 10 car. And look at Ray get on the side of him with just the white flag should be coming out after the next lap. But no, he cannot get around him. And Lucky Larry really pouring it on as he heads out of turn 4 and down the front straightaway. And we've got one spun out right now, number 59. And let's see if the yellow's going to come out or if 59 can get that thing back under his own power. Yes, he does.
I hope he hurries.
Oh, this is going to be close.
He's okay.
Well,
maybe.
I thought he was okay.
Oh, my God.
Yellow flag flies once again as car number 59.
There's a good move. Just
Willie
flip her in
Russell.
reverse and head for the infield. Oh, Willie Russell.
He
the
gave it a
ride
good
of his
effort, though,
life.
Tom.
Good show, Willie.
Good try, Willie. It's awful muddy right down there on the inside of that infield. I'm an expert on mud.
You slip into and out of those so subtly.
Yep.
An
Sure
expert
did.
on mud. Jack in the wall.
Well, we'll bunch him up again, and probably about one more lap on the yellow, and we'll
You
get it
love
back
that, don't
underway.
You
What's
love bunching them up.
that? I love to bunch him up. I bunch him every chance I can.
Only 4 laps blazed into the book on this one. They did get that rear bumper on the Vanhorn car.
Oh, he's
somewhat
back out there,
taken care of, but I'll tell you, he's got a wild extension on it now. Looks like it went from a 15-mile-per-hour bumper to about a 50-mile-per-hour high-impact bumper.
I knew we'd see him back out here. Probably just chopped it off or something in the pits or cut it off with a cutting torch. Good to have him back out here. Okay, George Camp looks at him once again. Here they come into 3 out of 4, and we're back on the green once again. And Dan Humphreys trying to put a move on Ray Wilson right now, but he couldn't get around him on the outside.
That looked for a while like it was going to be a 3-car stack up in turn 1, Jack.
Boy, it sure did. Look at Wilson now. He's going to try to make the move on Lucky Larry's. He just can't seem to get around him, but he's got the power to do it, it looks like. But Larry's really hanging in there, Tom, as Humphreys tries to catch Wilson right now, and can he do it? Lap number 6, white flag lap coming up next.
Lucky Larry out here last week with his mom and dad and aunt and uncle, family over from California. He really wanted to win. And he had the car just flat out going as fast as it could last week, and now here he is doing the same thing tonight and taking the white flag.
Well, let's see if he can live up to his name, Lucky Larry, and wrap this one up. You know, Ray Wilson in 79 is going to really pour it on along with Humphreys. Here they go down the back straightaway, and this corner is going to really tell the difference right now. Wilson right down on the inside of the track. Looks like Larry's going to take it if he can just hang in there, and he does, as Humphreys goes way wide, tries to overtake Wilson, but just cannot catch up to him. And a good job of driving. I know he's really happy. This is his second win out here at Raven Raceway. Car number 77, and he lives up to his name tonight, Tom. Lucky Larry Davis.
In the Friendly Auto Sales, Drake & Sons and R&M Auto Sales car, number 77, Lucky Larry, one of the nicest fellas you could get to know out here. And again, I'll repeat that message of earlier this evening. If you're in the stand, it'll be Ron Lutes of Tucson leaving from the pole in machine number 6.
On the outside of Ron Lutes and the car number 71 from Tucson, Paul Banghart.
Chuck Bosland in his patriotically painted T-Bird number 90 inside the second row.
Outside second row, Lou Malandrone in number 48 from Tucson.
Marion Smiley in number 9 inside 3.
Outside 3, Robert Townsend in 98.
Kevin Clayton piloting number 44 from inside the 4th row.
Ivan Russell in 17.
Jimmy Brassfield, Dwayne Lang, and Terry Green are the rest of the field. And here we go racing with Paul Banghart, that 20-year-old Charger of a late model driver, moving her up from the outside pole position and vaulting himself into an early on lead here over the rest of the field. Ivan Russell in number 17 having a wild ride through turn 3, but he comes through it unscathed. Marion Smiley just a couple of spots behind him. All of them giving chase right now to Paul Banghart, as we get a wild ride up there in turn 2 that sends one high and out of whack in the early on, Jack.
It sure does, Tom, and that was our second place car, Robert Townsend in number 98. and he had second all sewed up at the time, but something happened to that vehicle, just shot him up toward that wall just beyond turn number 2.
Looked like maybe something snapped inside.
And perhaps that could
down
be
there
it.
in the old steering compartment or whatever.
Yeah, he looked fine coming out of 2, but just as he got to the end of turn number 2, it just shot up toward the wall. So looks like Gary's going to throw the hook on him right now.
So what's a bad break for Robert Townsend in the number 98 machine turns out, as it usually is the case, to be a good break for somebody else. And in this case, that would be number 6 there, Ronnie Lutes of Tucson, running along in second place and just ahead of Ivan Russell in the Coors Light Silver Bullet Special number 17. Dwayne Lang there in the 88 Blue Racer will start 4th now, with Marion Smiley in the number 9 car starting 5th, and Terri Green restarting in 6th place in that number 14 O'Reilly Chevrolet late model. And behind them it'll be Clayton, Bosland, and Malandrone, with Robert Townsend, the first casualty in this one here this evening.
Looks like Jim Brassfield in number 26 is not out there, so Jim must have went on into the pits. But anyway, Paul Banghart in number 71 leads him around real slow, and we're back in the green once again.
Yeah, they won't stay slow long, will they? Paul Banghart with Ivan Russell right on his tail at the restart now. That's how they stack up in turn 1. And that would be Ronnie Lutes running along in 3rd place, just ahead of Dwayne Lang and Marion Lappenboy Smiley and Terri Green hanging in there in the top half dozen right now. Here they come again, out of 4, down the homestand area. It's still that youngster, 20-year-old Paul Banghart, being chased by the old crafty veteran Ivan Russell in the Coors Light 17. And there's a pass on the inside of Paul going into turn 3, and Paul getting in a very precarious way up there in turn 3, but able to keep it somehow miraculously out of what could have been serious trouble and damage up there for the young Banghart.
Serious trouble for Marion Smiley, and Marion Smiley caught it out of his corner of his eye and went around him just in time. We could have had another doozy up there in turn number 3, Tom.
That's where it's nice to find yourself surrounded in these close quarters times that can come to racing so often by the old veterans, because usually if they can preserve a nasty situation from happening, they're able to get it done. And I'll tell you what, I'll bet you by golly there's nobody more thankful out there on that track right now than 20-year-old Paul Banghart. And he's the type of kid who, before this evening is over, will probably be approaching Marion Smiley in the pit fields and saying, "Thanks, boss, for a job well done."
Well, that's for sure. That could have been worse than it was. Let's hope Paul Banghart's car has not too much damage. And it looks like he's okay as we get the yellow flag over there. Well, they're waving it to slow the cars down, but it looks like Paul's okay. He's out of the car. Don't have the ambulance over there, so that's a good sign. Ivan Russell, your leader right now. We're stacking him up. The officials getting them all lined up once again. Boy, Marion Smiley jumped into 2nd place after that mishap. He was really pouring it on, but they'll invert back to their position on the last green flag lap before the yellow flag came out. So it looks like Lutes will be in 2nd place right now, with Dwayne Lang in 3rd place. Marion Smiley holding on to 4th place. With how many laps down? 3 laps down. Seems like a lot more. 2 laps down. Do I hear 1?
You're going to auction this sucker off tonight, huh? You know, tonight's another case in point for Ivan Russell, sitting in the right place at the right time. That's not to say that you're relying totally on Lady Luck, although I think she has to come racing with you every time you come racing.
That's for sure. Look, he was in the right place at that main event. What did he wind up in?
Last week he was running along about 6th place. I think there was a 2-car battle basically for 6th place, and all of a sudden when Trimmer and Sipes got tangled up coming out of turn 4 as Trimmer was trying to overtake Sipes, and they wound up in the retaining wall here in front of the grandstand area. Bingo, who was there but the Coors Light special car, number 17, Ivan Russell, who hadn't been around Victory Lane in a while. So perhaps I'm probably pretty safe in guessing that things tend to come and go in cycles for these guys, just like the rest of us who live in the real world. So maybe it's a good omen for Ivan Russell in number 17.
Well, it looks like Paul Banghart has his car started once again, but whether or not he's going to wind up back in this one is to see. Yeah, it looks like he's got a flat tire on that left front. So I think he's going to make it into the pits right now for a pit stop. And he'll be back out here if he, well, no, he's not.
Nice. Nice to see him able to cook like that after a ride he just took.
Looks like he's got a flat tire though, Tom.
Oh, I hope not. Ivan Russell, by the way, who is in the lead now as we restart this one in his 11th year of automobile racing. 17 or 18 years overall. The first 6 he spent chasing and racing motorcycles. So Banghart able to hang in there. I'm not sure. Has he got a flat or a low tire situation?
Whatever, he's still in there.
We've got green, and Ivan Russell has the lead. Let's see if he can hang on to it over Ronnie Lutes and Dwayne Lang and Marion Smiley and Terri Green and Robert Townsend and company. Here we go again. Chuck Boslin drifts his bird into the pit lanes now.
Number 71, Paul Banghart, realized not to be out there. He's also in the pits right now. Look out! Lang and Smiley bumping.
Lang and Smiley getting a real bump in down there in turn 1, Jackson.
But that looked like good, clean driving.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I'd still be a little goosebumpy.
So would I.
Quite a little bit. Ivan Russell on a roll, on a tear in number 17, holding off Ronnie Lutes and Marion Smiley, Dwayne Lang and Terri Green and Robert Townsend, your next set of 3, as we eyeball lap number 5 in your first late model heat race of the evening. Lou Malengrove running all by himself there in 48, just about 1,000 feet or so ahead of your leader, Ivan Russell, who will try to get a lap up, a leg up now on Malengrove as he dives that Coors Light Special into turn 3, gets a firm handle on the handle, and here he goes, cooking by the grandstands and mounting a lead now as Marion Smiley looks about to battle Ronnie Lutes out of position number 2.
He would have had Lutes, but he got in trouble right there with a lapped car, and he couldn't get around him as the white flag comes out for Ivan Russell in that Coors car. Coors Light 17.
Nothing gonna catch him now.
Doesn't look that way. The battle right now is between Ron Lutes and Marion Smiley, both of the Southwest Stucco cars racing up against each other. Let's see if Smiley can overtake him for second place. Right down to the wire. No, he doesn't get him.
Oh, boy.
So Marion Smiley and Ron Lutes battling it out for second place, and Smiley coming up just about a quarter of a fender short as Ivan Russell in the Coors Light car wins it in car number 17.
And Dwayne Lang in 88 unofficially finishing 3rd with Terri Green in the O'Reilly Chevy number 14 5th, and Robert Townsend rounding out your top half dozen drivers, putting that number 98 into a 6th place finish here, the 7 respectively.
David Nekula in car number 65 bringing up the field on the outside of the 5th row, or inside of the 5th row. Larry Artman in car number 99 from Tucson bringing up the field on the outside of the last row.
And there you have it, your starting grid work for the 3rd Charger heat race of the evening. Getting some last-minute instructions via the Michael Jackson right hand of George Camp.
Michael Jackson, does he have his gloves on again? Yes, he does. George,
yeah.
I wonder if he has some sandpaper inside those gloves.
We'll have to maybe call for an inspection one of these nights. And everybody's cheating in that wacky sport of baseball. Maybe he's got a tack glued in there, or some sandpaper, or
something,
maybe even a hollowed-out bat.
Little pine tar on
Sandy
the
will
flags.
come up and whip me around for that, because she'll figure some way to say, oh, you were thinking about me. We've got green once again, ladies and gentlemen, and you've come to Raven Raceway for racing, and right now Gordon Sams is doing it from the lead position in number 23. He gets the early vault on Butch McCleskey up there in turn 1. I see Colin Germain making an early on move and running along in 3rd place now, coming out of turn 2. But at turn 3 and bringing her into 4 and in the lead in the early on of this one, Gordon Sams there. And what I like to think of is the Cincinnati Bengal car.
And look at David Fox making a charge once again, and David winning a heat race out here last week and looking better and better each time he appears.
Colin Germain being awfully sneaky right now in that third place behind McCleskey. McCleskey always a strong runner, so getting by him's never going to be a piece of cake. Right now, at least Colin Germain's concern is the McCleskey car, even though that's the one he first has to knock out and bypass. Germain thinking about Gordon Sams up there in the #1 position. And look at Germain close it up, making a nice little dive there on the low inside of turn 3, but unable to get the job done. He'll continue to run along in third place behind the number 23 car in first. McCleskey still hanging on to second place. Germain running third. They're all alone, as you see, at the front of the pack. 2-car race back behind them involving Todd Izzo in that blue number 2. Germain still battling in third place behind McCleskey and your leader Gordon Sams, and here they come on lap number 5, unraveling now. Lap number 4 for Gordon Sams, Butch McCleskey, and Colin Germain.
I'm glad you did that tonight too.
Starting to get ahead of myself already. That's what tonight's pace has been all about so far.
Good clean racing out there right now as Gordon Sam leads them on around. McCleskey and Germain battling it out, but Colin fell back just a little bit, Tom.
Looked like Colin might try a dive to the inside there on McCleskey up in turn 1, but unable to do so. And also McCleskey beginning to emit a little soft trail of smoke behind his machine, generally as he's coming out of the turn 4 Spectre. Lap number 6 now on your NASCAR Chargers. Third go-around here on a Saturday night, late in August of our inaugural Raven Raceway season. And thanks to you lovely folks, guys and gals alike in our stands tonight, it has been a phenomenal inaugural racing campaign. Here's the white flag lap now for your leaders. Gordon Sams, Butch McCleskey, Colin Germain, Todd Izzo. Those are your top 4 with David Fox in that 0 machine, the old Smurf car.
Well, looks like Gordon's going to have this one wrapped up, but who knows who's going to get second place right now. Uh-oh, look out, Colin, getting bumped by McCleskey. But Colin asked for that one as he jumped into...
I think Izzo might have eked him out right at the start-finish line, too.
He just might have, Tom. That was awful close. What do you officials think? A car won it?
Oh, Tony Barrow.
That's expert officiating, I gotta tell you.
Everybody is in a strange mood tonight.
Oh, number 7 came in 3rd, and Izzo came in 4th. So Gordon Sams, let's give him a good hand, folks, right there in the front straightaway. Gordon Sams in car number 23 wins our 3rd heat race for the NASCAR Chargers.
Front row.
George Bennett on the inside of the 2nd row in car number 111, and David Henken in 69 on the outside of the 2nd row.
Kirk Hall in the number 97 machine inside the 3rd row.
And Kirk Hall in the 17 machine on the outside. What's going on here tonight?
I want to see him do this.
Okay, Larry Bennett is not out there.
Larry unable to make the field. Tony Izzo, Bob Langston have. Dan Broussard and John Watson in number 30. The rest of your field is we've got the green and we've gone racing. Once again, your 4th Charger heat race of the evening, and Steve Neff, who's been doing a strong job all season long, but particularly in recent weeks. And right now, he's the strongest one in the field on this one so far this evening in that number 4 Sure car. That's Pierre in number 25, running along in 2nd place now, and George Benedum in 111. Your happy birthday boy, George, will be celebrating another birthday on this coming Monday. The driver of the 111 machine. So we're getting a little bit of a premature happy birthday feeling with regard to him tonight. He would like to, of course, have something to celebrate over his birthday cake with, such as a victory, whether it be in heat racing fashion or in a main fashion out here. Right now, he's running along pretty doggone good, although that John Watson in number 30 right behind him has just been awesome himself in recent weeks, Jack.
He sure has, Tom. And Steve Neff not looking too shabby out there tonight. And look at Bennett overtaking Pierre down the front straightaway. Just by a hair, and can he hold on? And he does. Good clean driving once again as they head down the back straightaway.
Watson drifting a little higher than what I think he would have liked up there in turn 2, but he's able to overcome that deficit rather quickly. I must have brushed my teeth so well today, I can't trust what's coming out.
You're having one of those nights, huh?
Wow.
I usually have them every week.
It's almost after everything I say, I think, what did I say?
Well, here comes John Watson once again in number 30, putting the moves on Bennett way on the outside.
Boy, he wants to be careful up there in that area, doesn't
Boy,
he?
he sure does.
Get close enough up there, and the wall reaches out with its little magnet and sucks you right into it.
Oh, look at that.
Watson passing on the inside into turn 1, and he displaces George Bennett back into 3rd place. Watson all alone in 2nd and putting the gun sights on Steve Neff in that number 4 machine, bringing the lead car out of turn 4 and bias now with that much of a lead on John Watson. Let's watch how Watson can close things up. He'll close it up real easy now with another yellow flag flying over Raven Raceway with Pierre down just inside turn number 3 back there under the Coors Light Silver Bullet billboard. So this will bunch him up. Gary's towing like the cavalry to the rescue. In this case, nobody will appreciate it more than Pierre. Although I would think John Watson is going to be most appreciative too. Getting bunched up now behind Steve Neff and George Bennett right behind him in that 111 car. Your top 3. Kirk Hall in number 97, the old Simonson machine, is tagging along 4th right now as we think about restart time here in this, your 4th Charger Heat race of the evening.
Well, look at Tony Izzo in car number 02 with a different type of paint job on that car, I believe, Tom. No, that's the brother of Todd. That's right. And I'm not being very observant tonight. Well, this will close it up right now with Steve Neff, your leader, and Benedum back in the 2nd place because of that yellow flag.
Interesting combinations this year. Izzo's, you got those 2. The Lang,
the Fetter,
those 2. You've got Deuce on the Fetters, Deuce on the Banghart, although we don't see so much of George anymore, except in a prize capacity. He likes to pass out the goodies here at Raven Raceway, but I got a feeling, I got a strong feeling before this season concludes, George will be doing some of his own driving with son Paul in the field. Who have I overlooked? Anybody?
I've been thinking. The wheels have been turning.
Well, we'll consider it, and the green will fly once again, and here they come with Steve Neff, George Bennett, and John Watson, your top trio. Let's see how it grinds along in the early on of this restart here for these NASCAR Chargers. Good show by all of them so far this evening. Watson thinking about putting a move on Bennett on the outside heading into turn 3. Then he thought better of it, dove to the inside, got a real good move on Bennett, even kissed up against his door to let him know he was there. And now Watson's running along in 2nd place behind Steve Neff once again. We've been here before. It's deja vu. But let's see if Watson can close it down on Steve Neff. They're still running close at the top as George Camp preppers the white flag 1 lap symbol to them, and we've got it into the final lap of play here. It'll be Steve Neff unless John Watson gets his way, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Neff doing a good job of driving at the top. George Benedum and Kirk Hall.
Oh, look at this, Tom.
Running 3rd and 4th.
Right
We've
down
got
to
a
the wire.
battle out of turn 4. Watson on the low side and unable to close it off. Steve Neff hangs on to take a half-fender win here in your 4th Charger flight of the evening, and what a dandy race finish that turned out to be. But Steve Neff put the for sure on that car for sure in staving off a charging John Watson there at the finish. George Benedum and Kirk Hall rounding out the top 4. Vicky Lynn car, number 74, rounding out your field here.
8 laps for this one, Tom. Our 2nd heat for the NASCAR Winston late models.
And Bobby Markham, the man on the pole in number 94, the Sue and Chuck Gibson car. Sponsored by Quaker State Oil, Performance Engine and Machine, Gary's Towing, Creco, the equipment people, and we've got green, and we've gone racing. And boy, look at the seesaw battle right off the top of this one, and up at the front of the pack, and look at the rest of the pack. What a tremendous job of surging into that first turn of this one. And we've got yellow with one down up there in turn 2. That's number 12, Mike Meisner. The first one to get into foul trouble, so to speak, here in this one.
Boy, what a charge they put on it. The green flag, that was one of the best charges I've seen this year on a green flag. They were side by side and all over the place, and everybody just done a good job of driving. Good, clean driving so far tonight. Let's hope it stays that way. Well,
so Meisner becomes your first casualty.
And we did not get a complete lap, Tom, and as you know, and as some of the race fans know, that we'll have a complete restart on this one.
I like complete restarts.
So do I.
I can imagine the drivers probably are not real fond of them.
But they'll put Meisner back to the rear of the pack. But he was back there anyway, so.
Yep. No great loss for him.
If
Just
he gets it started.
Bit of a free ride up there. Let's see if under the tutelage of Gary's Towing they're able to get her cooking, and not so, at least just yet. So he truly is our first casualty of our second heat race this evening. The wins are still picked up, as you can see by the flapping shirts on our flagman starter. George Camp, Bob McKinley up there in the cage for you again tonight. Bobby Markham inside that front row, Jamie Throckmorton on the outside, Dana Fight and Jack Moore right behind them, Bronco Billy and Rick Sipes in the third row, Rapid Roy Gibson, Mike Hancock, and Carl Trimmer is how your grid stacks up right now for this one, with Mike Meisner unhappily sitting in number 12 down in the pit fields now, churning away trying to get it fixed and back into the fray of this one. You can bank on that. They're looking good. George Camp is eyeballing them, ladies and gentlemen, and if you're ready to go racing, I think we are too. We've got the flag, and here they come, side by side out of turn 4, Bobby Markham and Throckmorton. Markham gets the early nod and takes the lead into turn 1. Throckmorton drops to the low and inside. That's how they stack up coming out of 2, but it's still Markham. And he's putting on a real good race right now. Look at Trimmer surging his way up through the pack in the early on. He's already half of the way up. And look who he's tangled up with down there into turn 4. But Rick Sipes once again. Oh my goodness, things could be interesting here. But keeping an eye at the lead of the pack, it's Markham and Throckmorton running 1-2. Jack Moore and then Carl Trimmer and Rick Sipes rounding out your top handful of drivers here. And there they go, with Moore staving off Carl Trimmer for that third best in the early on of this one. And Sipes getting a little wobbly as he brushed up against Trimmer there in turn number 1, but able to come out of it under control.
Carl's trying to do everything possible he can to pass Jack Moore, but Jack just doesn't seem to let him by.
Markham getting a real good stack on that 94 machine up in turn 4, Jack. He just really throws it in there, and that keeps the power on it and keeps a controlled slide out of turn 4. Trimmer dives low and inside of Jack Moore heading into turn 3. Throckmorton getting a little wobbly in turn 4, but able to bring her back under control, and Trimmer closes it up on him, and they in turn try to close it up on Bobby Markham, but Markham is running real strong.
Well, Rick Sipes is just about right alongside of Jack Moore, and let's see if he can overtake Moore coming out of 4. Yes,
he's got him. He's got him by the end of turn 4, so Jack Moore got his hands full of Rick Sipes, and Sipes passes him up. Now Sipes eyeballing the tail end of number 74, Carl Trimmer once again, and look at Markham going awfully high up there in turn 3, but he keeps it totally under control and on a perfect slingshot line into the grandstand area. What a job of driving by Bobby Markham in my own estimation here this evening. He's looking great, at least to these eyes.
He sure is, Tom, and Bobby Markham is going to get the white flag, and if he can hang on one more, he's going to wrap it up. But here comes Carl Trimmer.
Carl Trimmer within easy breathing distance. Throckmorton and Sipes running 3rd and 4th, and this, the last lap of this one. Throckmorton dies off up there in turn 1 and turn 2. He is down. And I don't know what the problem is in that machine, but here they come out of turn 4. Trimmer taking it low and not able to get the job done on Bobby Markham. Markham hangs on for about a half of a fender length win over Carl Trimmer. What an exciting finish once again here this evening. And I got a feeling, Jack, we're going to be losing our voices awfully early tonight.
Boy, this is some exciting racing. I'll tell you what, in the late model tonight, the car number 94, let's give him a good hand, folks, Bobby Markham.
What a job of driving on Markham's behalf in that 94 machine. Lined up themselves, and we're getting lined up on them, and it's already time for your 5th heat race of the evening for the NASCAR Chargers, with Larry Artman coming off the pole here in the number 99 machine. We'll set the rest of the field for you in the early on of this one. But right now, let's see how Artman does with Dan Roussard in the 63 car, taking over the lead in the early on here. In fact, they gets the job done up there by turn number 1, leaving Larry Artman looking up to the leader.
Well, it looks like Artman is falling back just a little bit, Tom, as Dufek is making a move right now, and Dufek getting a little bit wobbly coming out of turn number 4, but he hangs right in there, right on Artman's tail. And I was informed, Tom, that this is a consolation race for these fellas. That's why we've seen them again. Look out there in turn number 2.
Some wild opportunities up there that some good driving staved off, and I'll tell you what, they deserve a tip of the old Stetson, the racing Stetson here at Raven Raceway tonight. But it's, I guess you'd come to expect it along about the 5th to 6th month of racing. It's all really beginning to come together quite well. And you can see 4 or 5 of them just go squirrely as all get out and look like tragedy's about to unveil. And bingo, before you know it, they all come out of it unscathed, got their own power back and into the running.
Sure looking good out there tonight.
Michael Long, Barry Foster, Pierre, Charles Ward, Jeff Dwight, Freddie Descamp, and Larry Artman, along with Perry Dufek and Dan Roussard.
Looks like Pierre didn't make it out to this consolation race.
I don't see
He
that
was
number 25.
Supposed to be lined up in the field, but evidently he's been scratched on this one. Well, green flag comes out once again, Tom, and back into racing again as Dufek makes a good move on Don right there in number 63. Okay, Don in number 63 falls back behind Dufek, but hangs right in there and goes just a little bit wide. But here comes car number 11, Jeff Dwight, and Jeff right on Roussard's tail right now, headed out of turn number 4. Roussard goes wide. Dufek stays down the center of the racetrack, but Roussard holds right in her. Here comes Jeff Dwight in car number 11, still on the tail of Don in that number 63 car, and Don goes up against the wall right now as Jeff Dwight in car number 11 holds on to 2nd place. Roussard gets it back under control, back out on the racetrack. Perry Dufek holding his own, but smoking just a little bit down the front straightaway. Jeff Dwight in number 11 chasing him, trying to throw out the line and reel him back in, but Dufek pours it on as he comes out of turn number 2. Also pours on the smoke just a little bit more. Here we go, lap number 3 in the books right now as Perry Dufek leaves Jeff Dwight in car number 11 down the front straightaway. Lap number 4 in the books right now. The rest of the field has their work cut out if they're going to catch up to Perry Dufek and Jeff Dwight. There's car number 05 in 3rd place. That's Ward Charles trying to stave off the car number 54, Fred Descamp. Oh, we've got one spun out in turn number 2. That looks like Fred Descamp in 54. And the green flag stays out as Descamp keeps it under control. But look at the battle we've got going on for 1st place right now as lap number 5 is already into the books. Perry Dufek in number 14 on the outside. Jeff Dwight in number 11 on the inside, but Jeff's got traffic in front of him. Dufek goes way wide. Dwight comes down on the inside of him. They're side by side down the front straightaway. Jeff Dwight in car number 11, just a hair ahead of Perry Dufek. But look how Jeff Dwight smacks into Fred Descamp in that number 54 car as the yellow flag flies once again here at Raven Raceway. Boy, you want to talk about some exciting racing. We've got it in store for you tonight. And we've got a lot more coming your way. Got the semi-main event coming up right after this one. And these fellows are really putting on a good show.
14's got a flat tire.
Oh, my goodness. Perry Dufek in car number 14, your leader right now, has a flat tire, as you obviously see. And that is your leader. So perhaps he may hang in there and try to hold on to it. I don't know how he can stave off Jeff Dwight in car number 11, because Perry was looking mighty fine out there. We're just going to have to wait to see. 5 laps down on this one. Looks like Dufek is, well, let's see what he does. He's got a flat tire. If he wants to race it that way, he can race it that way. If he wants to pull in the pits, he can pull in the pits. It's up to him on this one, folks. And it doesn't look like he's going to stay out here. Tough luck. Oh, wait a minute. I prejudged him too soon. He's hanging in there. Right front tire flat, no. Perry Dufek from Tucson, that Ace Hardware Whitwell Automotive car. Your current leader right now. And Perry's going to hang in there. Jeff Dwight in that car number 11 in second place. Charles Ward, just the way they are, in third place in that 05 car. George Camp puts his finger out with the yellow flag, tells him one more time around. Let's see if Perry decides to stay out there. Yes, he does. Jeff Dwight in number 11. Going to try to take advantage of Perry Dufek with that flat front tire. Charles Ward still in this one, driving that 05 car for Chris Dobbs tonight. And Charles looking good. Larry Artman in car number 99, currently in fourth place, and Larry hanging on there. George Camp, your starter, looks at him right now, gives him the green flag. Off the number 4 corner they come as Perry Dufek leads him down the front straightaway. But here comes Jeff Dwight. And Jeff Dwight overtakes Dufek right now. And Dufek trying everything he can to stave off Larry Artman in 99. But Larry is starting to charge right now. And let's see what Larry has up his sleeves as Dufek has that flat tire on the right front of that car. Lap number 6 coming up, Tom. And poor Perry Dufek right now, driving his heart out, but doesn't look like he's going to make it as he pulls it into the infield.
This is where you've got Armstrong power steering, too.
Well, that's for sure. Oh, what happened here?
A little bit of an editorial opinion, I'm afraid.
Evidently.
At the risk of the remainder on the track.
One more lap for Jeff Dwight, Tom.
Probably be some words later on about that.
I'm sure.
The frustrations of racing.
What do we have? 3 left in this right now. Another one. 05, Charles Ward, who was in third place, brings it in the infield on the back straightaway. Well, here comes the checkered flag. Jeff Dwight in car number 11 wins this one. The Lutes Italian beef car with his first win here at Raven Raceway. And Larry Artman in car number 99 winds up in second place. Larry hanging right in there. And 54, Fred DeScamp, not making it to the finish of this one. There's Michael Long in car number 07. And Michael from Tucson, that Oracle Road rental car. And Michael winds up in third place in this consolation race. Let's give Jeff Dwight a good hand for his first win here at Raven Raceway.
Be seeing George Camp fly the green right about now.
That's my guess too, Tom, because he's looking at him right now and he's eyeballing Pamela Fetter, who's leading him around relatively slow right now.
Got out there into the crowds for a little bit of the consolation. What a refreshing breeze we got blowing through Raven Raceway tonight, as witnessed by Candy Woods, who now approaches the announce tower with hair blowing to and fro in the breeze. And here we go under the racing green, Pamela Fetter at the front of the class in number 18, John Vanhorn right behind her. and Sheila Van Hoff running along in 4th place as they bring him out of turn number 2, in which we've got a bit of a problem with one of them, but looks to me like he's going to be able to get it out of trouble by himself and under his own power. So let's hope so, because here they come. Vetter, Vanhorn, and then David Henken, with Sheila Van Hoff rounding out the top 4 right now in the early on of your 15-lap semi-main event for NASCAR Chargers, and there's a change at the top. Pamela is passed up not once but twice on the inside as she makes her way through turn 3. She is bypassed by Henken and Vanhorn. 69 and 1, running 1-2 right now in this one. Your 2 ladies almost side by side between turns 1 and 2. Pamela Vetter on the outside and Sheila Van Hoff on the inside. And looks to me like they've got pretty good company right there in turn 3. If he can keep it low and out of that magnetized area up there, then it'll be none other than Todd Izzo, who will run in between the girls at first opportunity here. He's right up behind Vetter now, but he's not going to like it up there on that high side of turn 2, and loses a little bit of ground up there too, his 2 lady racing counterparts.
Not only do we have car number 47 spun out, Tom Laney, and he gets back under control, but we've got one spun out over there in turn number 4. And I'm trying to get the glasses on him and see who it is.
You're going to have a bad angle, I can tell you right now, and a little bit of a dark spot up there too.
Looks like car number 07 to me, Tom. I don't see him out there anymore. That looks like Michael Long, and I believe this is his 2nd spin. I'm not sure. Nope, 1st spin. So, but he didn't bring out the yellow the first time, so he can stay back in there if they can get him back under his own power.
And be cautious across the rest of what remains in this one, or the next time he does create a yellow, he'll be adios.
Tom Laney did a good job of getting his car back going again, and, well, he's going to have to trail the field right now, but at least he'll be back into it.
Sure beats the alternative all to pieces, doesn't it?
It sure does. I noticed a good charge by that 02 car, Tony Izzo. Tony was really trying to get around the girls, or the ladies, as you said before.
I called him Todd earlier this evening.
No, I've done that.
My apologies.
I've done that.
Tony Izzo.
I thought Todd painted his car, so don't feel bad. It's confusing sometimes. Listen, I'm not going to mention how old I am, but my brother's name is Jim, and my name is Jack, and my mom still calls him Jack, and me still Jim. So
you're old.
It's easy to do. Yep, I'm almost as old as you.
Nothing's that old.
Methuselah.
Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy.
I wonder if Kent Lacey ever made it out here tonight. If you're out here, Kent, come on up during intermission or sometime when we get a chance, we'll talk with you.
Likewise, Steve Hart from KRQ, Kent Lacey from
Kim.
Boy, it's unusual to. Lacey has worked at just about every radio station in town.
Has he?
He's a swell guy. He likes to hang out at the swimming pools a lot. Can't fault him for that.
Sounds like somebody else I know.
But it sure is different catching him over at Kim these days. Kim FM, your country kicker.
What's this look cool, put your stolen sunglasses on?
What stolen sunglasses?
Well, we found some sunglasses up here, and we've announced it for the last 30 days, but if nobody claims them, good looking pair, if you can identify them, we'll give them to you. Here we go, green flag. David Henken, 69, leads him down the front straightaway as John Vanhorn tries to catch him. Pamela Vetter in car number 18, right on John Vanhorn's rear as they head down the back straightaway. Sheila Van Hoff holding her own, but here comes Tony Izzo, and we've got a spin out at turn number 2 to bring the yellow flag out once again.
That's Herb Penrod in 777 up there, and John Banks in the 49 car. And Penrod, I had noticed just before he got into that little fray up there with Banks, or near Banks at least, was pounding some smoke out the tail end of that car. I'm sorry, it was not Penrod that was smoking. It was Willie Russell's machine, the number 59 car. He's still running, though, so if it is any sort of a problem, it's not slowing him down just yet.
You're sorry? I know. No, just kidding.
Give me a break, Jack.
Okay, I'll go easy on you tonight. I know. I build you up at the beginning of the program,
Boy,
tear
you
you
did
right
that.
down, just like giving candy to a child and taking it away.
Must have been hanging around tonight when I pulled the same number on George Camp.
Nope.
Thanked him for a tremendous job
Oh, yeah.
electronically up here, and then had the gall, had the audacity to ask him if he had put some stickum stuff on his flag handles. It actually sounded rather salacious, didn't it? Hey, did you put sticky stuff on your flag handles today?
For your information, folks, he made it the whole year without dropping a flag, and he dropped a couple of them in one night. And that's why we're giving him a hard time. Three of them?
As a matter of fact.
And they weren't on purpose.
He was, George Camp was down to visit us a couple of mornings and a couple of afternoons, as a matter of fact, this week at KRQ.
Did he bring the donuts?
They're starting, yes, he did bring the donuts. They're starting to think he's a regular staffer down there. I think if he keeps hanging around much longer, they're probably going to put him to work.
He's looking.
And if things are like this last week was at KRQ, God knows, we'll no doubt have the opening
It'll
for
be
him.
your job.
Take my job, please.
Take this job or take my job.
Take this job and shove it where the moon don't. Well, still moving along at a brisk clip here this evening.
Officially on tape, and Tucson on tape right now. I want to say that Tom said that about KRQ and not Raven Raceway. Just want to document that.
What's that?
To take this job and shove it.
Oh, yes. I was introducing a song, wasn't
And we were
I?
just kidding anyway.
Or at least saying it affectionately. John Banks' machine on the hook there. Good little Charger over the weeks and months out here. Always sad to see it come to this, but eventually I guess all of them got to go through it once or twice. Trimmer and Sipes could tell him about it, what their week was like, getting those rides put back together and in racing shape, and looking awfully good out here tonight. We're looking good enough here with these Chargers in the semi-main event. We've got green, and we've gone racing again with David Henken and John Vanhorn running 1-2 into turn one at the restart of this one. The ladies right behind them, Pamela Fetter in number 18 and Sheila Van Hoff in number 22, running third and fourth, respectively. Here come your leaders out of 3 and into 4. David Henken in the lead in 69, and John Vanhorn with that realigned rear bumper right behind him, and moving up awfully close now on the outside as they approach turn 1 and 2, and Vanhorn maybe a little bit higher than what he had hoped to go. He'll be slowed down. And that'll be a break for David Henken, who will simply pad to it as we look them into lap number 5 now, or 1/3 of the way complete in this one. And we've got yellow once again flying over Raven.
Number 23 sitting down on the number 2 corner. And looks like Mulford over there.
Over from Marana tonight.
DL?
Mulford.
Deal. Tell you what, next year we're going to do something about the pronunciation of these cars or these drivers and put it in phonetic or something.
I'll show you a phonetic system that'll leave you so screwed up and lost you'll never recover.
I'll bet you would.
It's the standard of broadcasting. Boy, that's why it's been so treacherous all season long for them to ask me to put what happens here in writing at the end of the night for Western Racing News and for our own Raven Raceway, because those of us who have been doing it, in my own case, like for 25 years electronically, the people at home never see the stuff you write down. They only hear how you reiterate it.
That's right.
And that's a piece of cake compared to having to write it down and then for the purpose, especially of having somebody read it.
No, I think you do a good job. Just look in the program. That the proof's in the pudding right there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. I'm serious.
Well, don't look too close.
But what do I know?
This is true. We've got Racing Green once again, ladies and gentlemen, and David Henken and John Vanhorn. It sounds like a broken record with Pamela Fetter and Sheila Van Hoff, but not for long. Right behind them is 45 is getting a surge on. Bob Langston moving along real well right now, and in fact, he has passed up the 2 ladies and put her into 3rd place in this one. Bob Langston, a red-hot Charger. to say the very least, from Tucson, and closing up rapidly in this one. John Vanhorn now about to, is he not, snatch the lead away from David Henken. No, he won't get it done up in turn 1.
Sure give it a good try,
And
though.
look at Langston putting the moves on now, and it's a 3-car race for first place all of a sudden as we look at lap number 6 of 15. They get the crisscrossed red and yellow flag there by starter flagman George Camp, indicating that they have come half of the way. They are midway right now, so to speak. So half of it's in the book, half of it's remaining. Let's see if we can't keep it lean, mean, clean, and green for the rest of this one. Your NASCAR Charger semi-main event for this Saturday night, number 29 in August.
Something happened to John Vanhorn on that last lap. He went way wide, and Bob Langston in number 45 slipped right underneath him as the yellow flag comes out once again, as we've got number 47 spun out on the back straightaway. That's Tom Laney. So David Henken is going to have it closed up right now, and Bob Langston in number 45 right behind Henken. Well, anyway, David Henken, your leader right now. George Camp does not give him the green flag. Uh-oh, he's got the black flag right now. Points at him, tells somebody.
One black flag can ruin your whole day.
Uh-oh, who did he yell at? He's just trying to slow him down right now.
He used that as a
threat.
What do you call that? A visual aid.
Visual aid.
He used the black flag to visually aid his message to these drivers to slow it down a little. You can speed it up when I drop the green on you.
He used it as an attitude adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple other words they could use too, but anyway.
Well, he's got the green ready to go, and I think you're about to do some more racing, Jack.
Sure looks that way. Tony Izzo bringing up the field, and car number 02 hanging in there as David Henken leads Langston and the rest of them down the front straightaway. Henken right now being challenged by Langston, and Langston being challenged by John Vanhorn. But John keeps going wide coming out of turn number 2, Tom, and having a problem handling it just in that corner.
Izzo went pretty wide himself up near the guardrail coming out of turn 2. He's brought it down into a little bit lower groove now. And running along in 5th place in this one, and look at that battle at the top.
Oh my goodness, David Henken and Langston side by side, and Langston overtakes Henken right now.
And leaving Vanhorn all of a sudden no doorway to get through up there in turn 2, and Vanhorn had no option but to pump it down.
Here comes Tony Izzo in 02, and Tony looking pretty good right now. Langston leads him around turn 1 and 2 as Henken tries to regain the lead, but can't quite catch up to Langston as Vanhorn goes wide once again.
Izzo bettering himself by a position in that last lap after coming a little wide out of turn 2, as we mentioned at the time. Lap number 10 about to unflag itself for you here, so 2/3 of the way through this one.
Look at that, Tom. David Henken is not giving up. He's right on the tail of Langston. It looked like Langston had a few more horses, but he's hanging right in there, Henken is. Henken.
But Langston is beginning to pat it just a little bit down the back, shooting into turn 3, and there goes Vanhorn right up into the magnet and sucked up against that wall. Looks like no major problem for him, though, as the white flag flies. 1 lap to go. We've got another one down inside turn 2 back there. But it looks like everybody will be able to safely traverse their way by to the outside of that machine, so that should preserve us another yellow with the white flag flying and the checkered flag coming out per George Camp. 2, none other than David Henken in that number 69 machine taking the victory here.
Nope. That was Bob
I'm
Langston.
sorry. Bob Langston, of course,
We
in 45.
talked about Henken so much leading this one.
He
And look,
sneaked by so quickly, didn't he?
he sure did.
David Henken, though, with that 69 car, good for a second place finish. Tony Izzo bringing the 0-2 machine. We had him in fourth place at last look. Looks like he was able to improve on that one more time and finish at least unofficially third here in your semi-main event for the NASCAR Chargers this evening.
There's also a pit concession over here where we have another window open on the far side towards the old Victory Circle area, so that may help relieve some of the pressure. Jack and I have been doing this weekly. We're having kind of fun at doing it. We're going to do it some more. If anybody's got questions involving the racetrack, rules, anything pertaining to the racing, we'll take questions from about, how many, Jack? 7 or 8 individuals. We've got some gift certificates down here. So it's been kind of fun in the past, and if you'd like to participate, come up here to the front gate. Jack will pick a few of you and bring you down. We'll have a main event lined up out here in probably about 10, 15 minutes. Late model may be coming out. They're getting into the staging area. We don't want to stay too long because the wind's blowing. We don't want to waste the racetrack. So got our first interview here. What's your name, son?
Carl,
Carl, what's your question?
I want to know if you guys are going to have figure 8.
Figure 8. No, I don't think so. We have an off-road course built in the middle, and in order to do that, we'd have to change the whole setup. So right now, we're content with what we're doing, okay? We got a gift certificate for you here for your mom and dad from Leo's Auto Supply for a pair of floor mats. Be sure to give that to your mom and dad since you don't drive yet, I'm sure. Next. Don't forget, next Saturday night, same program again. I believe the 5th, the dwarf cars are running also. Next Sunday night, since it is a holiday weekend, we're going to have the NASCAR Chargers and the Wing Super Modifieds and the Mini Stocks, which I just made some arrangements with. We are going to bring the Mini Stocks back. There's about 10 of them in town. We're going to start that division again, and they're going to be here on Sunday night also. So we're going to have the Chargers, Wing Supers, and the Mini Stocks. Name?
Jim,
Question?
I was just kind of curious as to why there aren't more drivers from out of town.
Well, sometimes drivers from out of town get down here and they come down here and they get beaten. You know, it's kind of an ego thing. They have a hard time beating these guys in Tucson, and the Tucson people are kind of at a treat, because I'll tell you something. Ivan Russell, Carl Trimmer, Sipes, Bobby Markham, these guys, they can win any place in a stock car, and it makes it real hard to come to Tucson and try and win in this backyard. So, well, I wouldn't say they're scared, but they're reluctant to come down. We have had some good out-of-town cars. I think we'll get more in the future, and there's just a lot of scheduling going on right now in the Phoenix area. Unfortunately, there's 3 racetracks in the Phoenix area, and they're all contending for the car count. So, but we got a good field, good strong field, and at least our field is good quality equipment and good drivers, so that makes a big difference. $10 gift certificate from Rick's Auto Supply. From AWOA, once again, thank you very much, all those people that have contributed. Next. Name?
Joshua Hogan.
What's your name, Joshua? What's your name, boy? I'm doing all right. What's your question?
How old you got to be to race dwarfs?
Dwarf's got to be valid driver's license, which is 16 years old. And that's for insurance purposes as well as all the other divisions. You have to be 16 years old with a valid driver's license. Why, you want to buy a dwarf car?
I'll build one.
Atta boy. Start on it now and you'll be ready. Okay. Leo's Auto Supply, set of floor mats, mom and dad's car, or your dwarf car, either one. Coca-Cola. No, it ain't Coca-Cola. That says the color. What's it say?
Coco?
Coco.
Oh, okay.
Arguing with me up here. What's your name?
Joshua Sertelli.
What's your question, Joshua?
Do you ever race motorcycles here?
Yes, we do on Friday nights. We have Friday nights. That's what the off-road course is out here, and they ran last night, and they put on a real good show. And we have about 25 quads that come out here and race too. So maybe you want to come out some Friday night and watch them. About 3 weeks, I believe it is, or 2 weeks, they run again. From Leo's Auto Supply, another set of floor mats. You can help your dad out, or mom. Did you see the mayor tonight yet, Jack? What's your name, son?
Shane.
What's your question?
Does it cost anything to race out here, motorcycles?
No, there's an entry fee, but just like everybody else, they have to pay their pit pass. But they race with a group of people that charge a minimal entry fee, and that way they can all come out and compete. Leo's Auto Supply, another pair of floor mats. Kids always come up with some good questions. Good. Name, sir?
Red Kathman.
Question.
Congratulate on a truly great facility. I've been coming since 1975, and by golly, it's the best year I've seen out here. But the question I have is, do you plan a show next year to parallel a Western World late model race at Phoenix, where you got all the out-of-state guys, not necessarily run by NASCAR rules, but like an open competition late model race to maybe the week before or the week after the Western World?
Yes, we do. And we tried to pull it off this year. As a lot of people know, I had very short time to rebuild the facility and get schedules done. But next year, I'll guarantee everybody we're probably going to run a 2 or 3 day late model show. It will be under NASCAR rules. Them guys can conform to these same rules. That's no trouble. I don't agree with letting some of the out-of-towners come in from back east that are running big plexiglass billboards and stuff on the sides of stock cars. If they want to do that, they can buy a sprint car. But I think they can come out here and compete with our guys under our rules, and maybe we can develop us about a $25,000 purse that'll guarantee they'll be here for 2 or 3 nights in a row. So that is in the planning, and also we're going to go in coordination with the Western World for sprint cars next year. I am now in negotiations with the World of Outlaws. I feel positive we will have a World Outlaw sprint car show here next year, and also a CRA sprint car show. So we can graduate into some big shows here in Tucson, which I think everybody will appreciate. Oh, this is from, but Gordon Sam's new sponsor, correct? It's Subway sandwiches on, I believe it's Alvernon and 29th. Fresh baked buns, it says on this t-shirt. So, sir, you got a t-shirt, and we'll give you a Leo's Auto Supply set of floor mats for your car, too. Thank you. 3 more, and we'll roll the main event out here for you. Here's one of our consistent fans. Name?
Roger Gret.
What's your question, Roger?
Are you guys ever going to get Odysseys out on this off-road course?
We can consider that. If there's enough of them want to run, it's there. And I'm sure if they want to come out on the same nights, they'll make a class for them. That might be a lot of fun, you know? Pair of floor mats, Mom and Dad. Next. 2 more to go. Name?
Joseph Statham.
What's your question, Joseph?
Well, I've been going here a lot this month, and I've been wondering why it seems like they've been giving Carl Trimmer a lot of, chances.
Well, sometimes it looks that way from in the stands. But we got a lot of good officials out here, and we have videotape equipment up on top that we all review. And the official's job is to make the decision whether we penalize somebody for it or not. We don't feel that the racing in the late model division has gotten that far out of hand. We got some very serious competitors that run real hard with each other, and racers have a tendency when they go back over there in the pits talking it out or settling their differences, and if they have a complaint, they can come to officials and we'll help them out. But we have had no complaints from the drivers in the pit area in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Good question, though. Very good question. Sure. Coca-Cola t-shirt. One more. This is it right here, and we'll call the main event out. Name?
Glenn Yoder.
Question.
Yeah, I want to know if the super modifieds are going to run any more or less shows and any rule changes for next year.
As far as I know, the super modifieds will have no rule changes. I like the way they are right now. They will get an increase in the schedule here next year, definitely. We're going to try and bring the supers and the midgets in here more times. And I think we've got a good consistency built now with our stock car program and our open wheel program, and we're going to try and mix it up a little more. Got dinner for 2 for you from Ireland's Post Time Pub. It's on Craycroft 29th. Thank you all very much. We'll do it again next week. Don't forget, next Saturday night, we got the late models and the Chargers again. And then Sunday night, we got the NASCAR Chargers and the Wing Super Modifieds and the, what else, mini stocks. We got it. we're ready to go, folks. So we'll get them out here, and we'll get them online and finish this show off for you tonight. Thank you very much for your time.
Late model main coming forward now. We'll have them all set for you here momentarily. Right now, get your lucky